There is a secret language spoken by the most focused, driven, and often misunderstood people in the world. It is a language spoken aloud when no one else is listening. It is the language of self-talk. If you've ever walked into a room and seen someone whispering intently to themselves, or caught yourself doing it in the mirror, you probably felt one of two things, either deep concern or slight embarrassment. The common myth is that self-talk is a sign of distraction, social awkwardness, or even the first spiral into madness. But what if I told you the opposite is true? What if the ability to engage in loud, clear, intentional self-talk is not a symptom of a weak mind, but the foundation of a powerful one? From Olympic athletes commanding their muscles, to theoretical physicists mapping complexity, to the most successful CEOs planning their day, they all share this common, private practice. They are using their own voice to rewire their brain, eliminate doubt, and execute on their plan with surgical precision. Today, we are going inside the minds of these people. We are going to expose the 8 psychological secrets that turn private speech from a nervous habit into a hyper-focused tool for success. You will learn how to turn your inner critic into your most ruthless coach. Before we begin this deep psychological dive, an act of intentionality is required. Subscribe to the channel. This is your first commitment to intentional thinking, and comment below with the one thing you usually say to yourself when you fail. Let's make that old language public so we can start replacing it. Let's go. The first and most critical step is to understand what self-talk actually is. Most people confuse private speech with 2 entirely separate, often pathological, conditions: hearing voices or experiencing fragmented thoughts. True, productive self-talk is rooted in a single, vital process: inner dialogue. It begins in childhood. We all remember kids narrating their play. "The truck goes over the bridge now. Look out, monster." This overt speech is called externalized private speech. It helps the child process the world. As we grow, this external speech gets internalized, becoming the quiet, humming voice inside your head, the inner monologue. But what happens when we externalize it again? This is where the magic begins. Meet our first avatar, Lucas. Lucas is a brilliant architect, but highly anxious. In quiet moments, his inner dialogue was toxic, circling around fear. "I'm going to miss the deadline. This design is flawed. Everyone is judging me." Dr. Elena, a performance psychologist, taught Lucas the first secret: externalizing the inner dialogue neutralizes its power. When you hear a fearful thought, it feels immediate and true. But when you say that thought out loud, "I'm afraid I'm going to fail," it is suddenly outside of you. It becomes an object of analysis, not a subjective truth. The moment you speak your fear, you create distance from it. You realize, wait, that's just a thought, not a fact. The first step of mastery is not stopping self-talk, but understanding it as a tool for externalizing and controlling the storm. Why do we talk to ourselves most intensely when we are performing complex tasks? The answer lies in the work of the legendary Russian psychologist Lev Vygotsky. Vygotsky argued that private speech is primarily a cognitive self-regulation tool. It is the spoken blueprint for complex action. Imagine Raphael, a champion chess player. When he is planning a complex move, he doesn't just think, his lips move. He whispers, "Queen to e4. If he takes, then I move the bishop here. Check, secure the flank." Raphael is not talking to the wall. He is using his voice to force sequential processing. When you try to map out a complex plan only in your head, the thoughts are simultaneous. They clutter and crash into each other. But speaking forces them into a linear structure. It forces logic. State the goal, state the condition, state the action. This is the planning mechanism of self-talk. It forces clarity and organization onto chaotic information. Researchers at the University of Wisconsin-Madison found that when people spoke the names of items they were searching for, e.g., "Where is the stapler? Stapler, stapler," they found the object significantly faster. Why? The sound of the word acts as an auditory anchor, focusing the perceptual system. If you struggle with organization or execution, start talking through your plan. You are turning your voice into a personal operating manual, forcing your brain to slow down and prioritize. The most powerful form of self-talk is not about what you do, but about who you are. This is the identity anchor principle. Every time you label yourself, your brain adjusts your behavior to match that label. Meet Christopher, a sales manager who lacked confidence in presentations. Before walking into a major meeting, he used to think, "Don't mess up, Don't stutter. This focused his energy on failure. Dr. Elena gave him a new script. Before every meeting, Christopher would stand in the bathroom and state out loud 3 times, "I am a focused communicator. I am a resourceful negotiator. I am confident." This is not simple positive thinking. This is linguistic self-affirmation. When you say the words, you are performing a linguistic act of becoming. The auditory processing part of your brain hears your voice declaring a truth, and your internal network attempts to prove that declaration correct. You are using your own voice to override years of negative conditioning. The secret here is specificity and state change. You can't just say, "I feel good." You must affirm the specific quality you need for the task. Need discipline? Say, "I am a person who finishes what I start." Need focus? Say, "I am completely present in this moment." By audibly declaring your desired identity, you immediately shift your neurochemistry and physical posture. You stop trying to be confident and you start being the communicator you declared. Your spoken identity becomes your reality. Why do people mutter or sigh audibly when they are intensely frustrated? Because speaking is a powerful mechanism for emotional regulation. When you are overwhelmed, your limbic system, the emotional center, hijacks your prefrontal cortex. You lose control. The simple act of producing articulate speech requires the recruitment of the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic, planning, and control. When you force yourself to speak, you are literally forcing your brain to engage the center of control. Imagine Lucas hitting a major roadblock in his architectural design. Instead of slamming his laptop, he begins a deliberate, slow monologue. "Okay, the budget is too tight for this material. I feel frustrated. I need to take 3 deep breaths. Now, what is the core problem? The core problem is material cost. Solution A, find a cheaper substitute. Solution B, reduce the footprint." He is using his voice to create a cognitive break. Psychologists call this the distraction interrupt mechanism. By shifting your focus from the raw, overwhelming feeling to the structured, logical demands of speech production, you interrupt the emotional cascade. The next time you are flooded with anxiety or anger, do not suppress it. Instead, externalize it calmly. Use your voice to name the emotion, identify the feeling, and then immediately pivot to a logical problem-solving statement. You are literally talking yourself down from the emotional cliff. One of the most effective techniques masters use is talking to themselves using the second-person pronoun, you. Instead of saying, "I'm going to finish this," they say, "You can finish this, Raphael." Dr. Elena explained that this practice triggers the self-distancing effect. When you address yourself in the third person or the second person, your brain tricks itself into perceiving the speaker as an external coach, mentor, or trusted advisor. It shifts the perspective from an ego perspective, where you are trapped in the emotion, to an observer perspective, where you can analyze the situation rationally. Think of Raphael in the middle of a marathon. His legs are burning. The I voice screams, "I can't take another step." But the externalized you voice says, "Raphael, look at your form. You trained for this. You have 5 miles left. Do not break your promise." Research from the University of Michigan has shown that referring to oneself using non-first-person pronouns significantly reduces rumination and anxiety after stressful events. Why? Because the coaching voice is dispassionate. It speaks truth and strategy, not fear. To harness this power, start your key affirmations and commands with you and your name. You are not just talking to yourself. You are giving yourself the precise, objective coaching you would give your best friend or a top athlete. Why? Does speaking out loud improve task performance, especially when there are distractors? This is the function of self-talk as a focus mechanism or auditory anchor. When we are performing a repetitive or highly technical task, our attention naturally drifts. The environment is always fighting for our focus. Christopher, the sales manager, uses self-talk when organizing complex data sets. He doesn't just look at the screen. He murmurs the instructions as he executes them. Input date. Check for missing fields. Now, verify the client code. Process. This audible narration does 2 things. Filters distraction. The sound of his own voice becomes the dominant input, suppressing irrelevant background noise. Reinforces sequence. It forces him to adhere to the proper order of steps. If he misses a step, the internal narration breaks, alerting him to the error. It's like turning your instruction manual into an audio track. You are binding your attention to the task at hand through the sense of hearing. This is why athletes often count out loud, or why surgeons confirm instruments before using them. If you find yourself easily distracted, Use your voice to command your own attention. Speak the instructions. Speak the checklist. Your voice is the leash that keeps your mind from wandering. The most common form of self-talk is the inner critic, the voice of doubt, judgment, and inadequacy. The goal is not to silence the critic, but to transform it into the inner coach. The key difference between the critic and the coach is their linguistic style. The inner critic uses global, permanent language. I am always a failure. I will never get this right. Emotion-driven language. I feel terrible, so I must stop. The inner coach uses specific temporary language. This attempt failed because of X. I need to adjust Y. Action-driven language. I am tired, but I need to do one more set before resting. Lucas used to be dominated by the critic. When he made an error in a design, he would say aloud, "I am so stupid." Dr. Elena forced him to apply a technique called cognitive restructuring. The moment the critic speaks, he has to immediately repeat the statement out loud, but translate it into the coach's language. Critic, you are an idiot for missing that detail. Coach, spoken out loud. That detail was missed. It means I need to double check this section next time. That doesn't make me an idiot, it makes me human. Now fix it. By speaking the coach's language, you interrupt the emotional pain cycle and immediately pivot to solution-oriented thinking. You are literally fighting a mental battle with your own voice. The only way to win is to make the coach's voice louder, clearer, and more dominant than the critic's. The goal is not to talk to yourself all the time. The ultimate goal of all these techniques is to use external speech to rewire your internal monologue until the coach's voice becomes the dominant one, even in silence. This is the path to the silent assassin mind, where conscious thought and effortless action become one. The final technique is a daily practice of intentional scripting. Every morning before you begin work, stand up and perform a 3-minute self-talk ritual that integrates everything we have covered. Identity anchor. State your non-negotiable identity for the day using the I am and you are statements. I am a disciplined creator. Christopher, you will stick to the schedule. Focus mechanism. List the 3 most critical tasks of the day, stating the action and the goal. Task 1. Finalize the proposal outline. Task 2. Execute the deep work block from 10 to 12. Task 3. Call the difficult client. Inner coach. State one potential difficulty and the solution. If the inner critic says I am too slow, I will respond, patience over speed, quality over rush. The constant, conscious external practice of positive, specific, and logical self-talk hardens the pathways in your brain. You are teaching your unconscious mind to use the voice of the coach, not the critic. When you master this, you achieve the state where your thoughts are so clean, so logical, and so well regulated that you don't need to speak them aloud anymore. You simply act. You stop being someone who battles their thoughts. You become someone who commands them. The person who talks to themselves is not crazy. They are in control. They are utilizing a cognitive superpower that most people suppress out of fear of judgment. They have learned that the voice is a tool, a sophisticated, personalized coach that can organize chaos, anchor identity, regulate emotion, and enforce action. The goal is not noise. The goal is precision. Now, your challenge. For the next 7 days, every single time you find yourself making an internal, negative critique, you must stop and loudly repeat the statement using the inner coach's language and the distancing effect. If you think, I hate this, you must say out loud, Raphael, this task is difficult, but you will find the next step. This is your first non-negotiable step to rewiring your mind. Write your commitment in the comments now. State the negative thought you will immediately replace. If you watched this far, you are not here for entertainment. You are here to command your own mind. Make the declaration, command your voice. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next video.